All right, Black Box Radio. Listen, this is the pop up. We popping in with a pop up, and we gonna pop in your life tonight. It's very important. This conversation tonight, I'm so excited about because uh, marijuana, cannabis, weed, whatever you want to call it, it is a thing.
Here we go
It's
with
not. It's a thing
technology.
that's not going away. Huh? What you say?
Um,
I'm sorry.
mine had dropped.
What'd you
Go
say?
ahead. Go ahead, Queen. My
Okay,
signal
okay,
dropped.
okay. It's technology, guys. Okay, it's just technology. But yeah, so we're happy tonight to present. We have a presentation tonight with the Black Canni. So we have two beautiful people here. I'm going to get to them, and I'm going to introduce them. I'm Queen. I'm a host at Black Box Radio. We are a multimedia platform illustrating Black excellence. So our goal is to platform Black people, to expose Black genius, and just disseminate information. And tonight is one of those nights where we're going to disseminate information and talk about industry that we need to think about, that we need to get into, and that we need to kind of reconcile our minds that it's not bad. It's a lot of different iterations of this industry. And so we're going to talk about that tonight. And I just want you guys to kind of settle down, chill out. You know, if you gotta no, I'm not gonna say that. I was gonna say something a little. If you got something to smoke on, we don't have no problem with that. Enjoy yourself because we got a lot to talk about tonight. I have two folks here from the Black Canni. I got Sister Maurissa Stone. This ain't her first time. This is the second time with us. I'm so happy to have you, Maurissa. Thank you for coming on. And
Thank
we got
you.
Trevor. So Maurissa, introduce yourself, and then Trevor jump in and introduce yourself.
All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Maurissa Stone. I am the Director of Innovation at the Living Well Center. We are a center for social and economic vibrancy. We're devoted to soulful expression, conscious expansion, and optimal wellness. And this is actually our 15th year of existence,
Oh,
operating, as a social
hmm.
enterprise in Baltimore. And so one of the innovations, if you will, in terms of, our rubric is soulful expression, conscious expansion, optimal wellness. And so when we do stuff, we want to
Hmm.
make sure that those are our three pillars, right? That we stand on. And so the Black Canni was created, to really stand on each one of those pillars, to really look at, the abolitionist movement around cannabis and the reclamation of cannabis, not only from a medicinal perspective, but a cultural perspective, as well. And so, one of the things that we know that, this plant, has been disposed and then, globally, and then criminalized and then stigmatized. So, one of our goals is to destigmatize this plant, right, and really learn about the inner workings, and not only that, the research, the medical piece as well. And so I've been very blessed to have my brother love, Trevor Lawrence, who is from the Bay Area. And so Trevor, um, he can tell you more that, he came out of the legacy market into the regulatory market. And so there's a lot of lessons learned in that, in that journey. And I'm just very grateful that, he has acted as one of the Living Well's thought partner and really kind of holding our hand through, what we're learning in this process. Last year we had a canny. And as a result of that, I don't know if it was a result of that, but just, our work, I was named co-state director for minorities for medical marijuana. And so, but it has not been without the guidance, the coaching, and the support and love of Trevor Lawrence of Chemnisha Wellness.
Wow.
Hmm.
What a setup. I
Segue
feel
into you,
empowered,
Trevor.
privileged, and humbled by that introduction. Yes, I'm Trevor Lawrence, and I hail from Oakland, California, where, as Maurissa stated, I started out in the legacy market. And in 2016, when Oakland / California started to talk about adult use cannabis, that's when I started the process of that transition. Oakland was one of the groundbreakers in the social equity program, which a lot of states are now mirroring and modeling that social equity program. And I started that process, as I said, in 2016. 2017 is when I got certified. But certification is just one thing. Certification meant that I got certified as a social equity. And what that meant in California, that you have to have on the two components, either you lived in areas that were marginalized and impacted and criminalized by the war on drugs, and or have had been arrested, if you may. Mine was the former. I lived in those areas that was criminalized and marginalized. Fast forward in 2021, I got licensed. I got licensed as a manufacturer in non-solvent. That means that it wasn't used with any solvent, the license that I have, because of my lifestyle and how I eat. I eat very organic, I eat very natural. So folks, there are ways that you could consume cannabis with from a non-solvent standpoint, but I don't want to get all deep into that. So anyway, that's enough about me, and I'm gonna let Queen Bee start her facilitation.
Oh, Trevor, you that's not fair. You can't throw all that at me and then tell me that. That's not fair. Wow. So first I want you guys to explain, because you said something like what's legacy and so folks would know like what's the difference for the legacy market, and then move into kind of explain.
Legacy is just a decorum for the black market. So when we get on certain platforms, we use the word legacy.
Yes.
You understand?
I love it.
Just we can be real right here. I feel at home.
Yeah, that's street, baby.
So with that being said, it's just a decorum for the black market. And coming out of that market, which is, as you know, California, and I lived in Northern California, which is Humboldt County. And for folks that knows Humboldt County, that's one in the world, one of the largest producers of cannabis. So when one comes out of this area, everybody in the other parts of the country would come to California because we had the best, because of the climate. You know, it's no coincidence that the best wines come from California, Napa, which is in that area because of the soil, the climate, etc., etc. So anyway, so that's what legacy is, but just the black market.
Okay.
And as Maurissa said, I went into the
I just had to get that out.
Right.
Okay, so, got it. So I just wanted to, because people are like, well, what is legacy? And I wanted to kind of define that.
Oh, absolutely.
But I kind of knew that was what it is. That's a great name. I love that, legacy.
Right,
that's a nice decorum name.
Or you hear the term traditional. Sometimes
that's correct. That's correct.
Okay, traditional.
Right.
I've heard that.
And there's a sister that's going to be at the Canni. Her name is she's an attorney, Cheryl Powell, and she talks about making sure that we're looking at policy around being able to transition those that were in the legacy market into the regulatory market. Which I think that is very strong because we cannot discount. I mean, we changed the language. I remember at the last Canni, Trevor, if I may, we were talking about like these different categories, if you will, of social equity lines of business, right?
Correct.
And so Trevor, you said you were like, look, this is a safe space. Like, I thought that I was going to be a distributor, given my background.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Correct.
Yes.
And you use the term, if I would, trafficker, right?
Right. Correct. That's what, if we get it down to the bare bones, exactly what it was.
Absolutely.
So,
and I think we haven't looked into that.
Right. Folks will come from all over the country. So my relationships was with the cultivators, right? Folks come from places like Maryland, DC, Ohio, etc. I was the liaison between the cultivator and the buyer, right? So for me, I thought that my natural progression was going to be a distributor, which is
Sure.
one of the activities in the food chain, right? Is the cultivator, then the cultivator, there's the distributor, and then the distributor, there's the manufacturer, and the manufacturer is the one that, for example, the cartridges, the vape pens, the topicals, the tinctures, all that comes out from the manufacturing. In Maryland, they call it processor, same difference. So I
Yeah.
thought it was going to be
Yeah.
a natural
Applicator.
progression for me as a distributor because that was always my strong suit, because I had relationships. I know the middle guy, the middleman. So that's what I thought I was going to be. But the universe had another assignment for me. And so I ended up in
Okay.
the manufacturing space, which is really the right space for me because of how I feel about how things are manufactured and created and how I eat, naturally. And there are products that, as I stated, that are non-solvent. It doesn't have the ethanol and those kind of solvents. You understand what I'm saying? It's more organic,
I
it's more
understand.
natural, and it's an alignment. So if you made a whole food of cannabis, products.
You know what, Trevor? You and these words, bro. You
Yeah,
done
yeah,
threw
yeah.
out so many beautiful words. I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
love how
No,
you
I
explain
just like to
explain
be
this.
understood, and I just like
You
folks to
are.
understand from all different aspects. So yeah, but
I love how you make how you word everything, but it's and you're correct. And you're saying so now you're a manufacturer. Am I correct in that? That you're manufacturing? That's
right,
what you do?
correct,
Okay.
correct,
Okay. Got
correct,
it. Got it. Got it.
correct.
Got it. All right. All
However,
right. So first thing I would like, however,
go ahead. No, I was going to say there's certain
go ahead.
license where you could have more than one activity under one umbrella. In California, it's
Really?
called a micro license, right? Where
Hmm.
one could hold a manufacturing license, and they could hold a distribution license, and they could hold a dispensary license, but a
Hmm.
delivery dispensary license,
Hmm.
not a brick and mortar license. So in California, we have that. And I think in Maryland, they have something similar to that, where you could, have more than one activity under the umbrella. So yeah.
Wow. So delivery and brick and mortar are two different things for a
Well, right.
dispensary.
Well, it's
So you can be a
it's a
deliverer
dispensary,
and not
but
have brick and
but it's a
mortar.
delivery, right? And then you have a brick and
Oh, it
mortar
is.
where customers come into. And then you have a delivery
Sure. Sure. Sure.
license where you don't have a brick and mortar, but you're delivering to the customers. See, so there's
Hmm.
distinctions in that.
So you have the
And
UPS of Canada. Okay.
right,
That's very interesting. When, especially this industry is just being regulated, or it's just being, all of these different certifications. So I'm sure they're going to make them up kind of as they go.
correct,
But it's, yeah. I mean, this is not something like was etched in stone. This is all being created.
correct,
But it is, and I'm sure some things will get tweaked, and maybe some things will be put together. But it's very interesting how this has been thought. They've thought this through and
correct,
found a way to
Right.
regulate it and to actually kind of differentiate what exactly is what. And
Mhm.
because I never like the delivery of it and the manufacture piece and the application once it's delivered. That's a lot. But I'm
right,
sure they're gonna get it. I know there's money in this industry, family. When they take this
Yeah.
much time to break it down, to certify it, to show you there's money to be made, or there's some type of industry that is viable, I would say. The money you make is relative, but definitely there is a reason why you take this much time. Am I correct?
correct, correct,
You
right,
know, I
right.
wanted to.
Well,
Okay.
Yeah.
from the consumer standpoint, it's also much time is put into it and thought is put into it because you want to make sure that it's medicine, right? And even if you're using it recreationally and you want to make sure that the product is cultivated properly, because that's the whole point. It has something called a metric system. From the minute from a seed to the minute that it's consumed, it's on the metric system, where it's something called a COA, a certificate of analysis, where they make sure that the product doesn't have pesticides, metals, and things of that nature. So yes, so from a lot of different standpoints, it's important that it's under the regulatory framework. But to your point, though, Queen Bee, they're
you guys hear
figuring
me?
this out as they go along, and they're going to continue to figure it out.
Right. I wanted to lift up one of our sponsors, Green Guard. Green Guard brother by the name of Louis Joe has the only licensed carrier service in DC, right? And we went to the Congressional Black Caucus a couple weeks ago, and he had a investment forum because they're looking into how to deal with cannabis waste.
Continue with your thought. I'm going to plug my thing in because the power is low.
Okay. How to deal with cannabis waste. And that's something that, like, I was like, what? Like cannabis waste? And he was like, yeah, because the plant and every aspect of the plant is regulated. And so they were able to show us like, these containers of cannabis waste, because you got to be licensed to carry it, right? You have to be licensed to move the waste. You also can't take it to just any dump.
Disposal. Yeah, you can't dispose of it anywhere. Yeah.
Place. Only certain people or certain entities have license, to be even accept that waste, right? You have to have a license to even move that waste. And he was like, there's not a lot of infrastructure around cannabis waste. And so when he was, they had equity investors there, and I was like, wow, that
was brilliant.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, because in California, it's required that you have to have built into your infrastructure, you have to have waste removal. And there are companies, and
it's amazing though. What does that encompass? Where's this waste going? How are they getting rid of it? We understand transport wouldn't be hard, but then what is it being used towards? And usually like waste from a plant, as if you're a grower, that you can use compost. It makes other plants grow. Waste is a good thing. Correct. So what particularly is happening with the waste, and if there's something that needs to start to regulate the regulation of it, that's an industry in itself.
Right. So that's why they had that forum. They had the forum for us to, to take a look. Also, that they're using the waste for biofuels. They're converting it, into biofuels, right? And so the point of the Black Canni is that this is about innovation as well. Like we're thinking, typically about this plant, being we smoking weed. Like this is more than about smoking weed, right? This is Trevor said, this is not only, medicine, but we've got to look at, the policy pieces, the social justice piece, how are we keeping an eye on, how are we policing, because the system is set up to extract us, right? The system is set up to amputate us, from the economic opportunities. And so, the Living Well, our platform has always been is that we're not necessarily interested in getting a seat at somebody else's table. We're going to create our own, right? And so we are bringing these thought leaders. So the other piece of this in terms of health is mental health and mental wellness. We have a sister coming named Dr. Tiffany Buckley. She actually works at the University of Maryland's School of Pharmacy, Cannabis Pharmacy Program. And she is a psychiatric pharmacist. And one of the things that she's going to talk about is the psychosis that we're seeing in our youth, right? And what you need to know about the risks. And then also for service providers and parents that, are seeing, these mental health conditions, like how do you deal with them? Right. And then we also, from a health perspective, have a nurse, cannabis nurse by the name of Ashley Grimes. And, since I've met her, I have turned a few people onto her that are dealing with, pain. I have a compassion position that my daughter has lupus, and lupus, the steroids that they gave her, to save her life, ruined her body with avascular necrosis. So she's got it in her hips and her knees, and so she, uses indicas, right, for pain management. So, from a perspective of, understanding like how this is medicine for us specifically. So we partner with the brother Otha Williams of Tetragram. And this brother is really, what he's done has been amazing. We want people, we're going to show them how to download this app that you put your information in. If you're using cannabis to dose, for pain, they're asking you, like, where did you get, your cannabis from, what dispensary, how did you dose it? And when he showed me the back end, like he was able to show me, and they've got a lot of relationships with dispensaries across the country. So he was like able to show me that African Americans, this is how they dose cannabis, right? Asians, Middle Eastern, you know what I mean? Whatever the ethnicity is, they were like, okay, so we smoke, we vape, we, dab, we oil, right? I'm not just saying that, specifically, but that's really powerful, right? So we're going to use, our collaboration to do a study on African Americans with autoimmune disorders and how they're using cannabis to, manage pain and anxiety and sleep, because cannabis was, always scheduled, in terms of a Schedule 1, right? On the narcotics.
Schedule
What is
1,
it
yeah.
called? Cover the narcotic scale. Now DEA, they're trying to move it to 3, Schedule 3, so there can be more research, because you can't research something that's federally illegal.
Correct.
Right. So there's not a lot of medical research, especially for our community. So the Living Well, we're partnering with Tetragram. And so we're going to do a session on Sunday, showing people about the app, showing them how to use it and what the benefits are, because, I'm seeing where they can actually now, create a cocktail for you once you understand what terpenes, right, and how your cannabinoid system works. They can create a cocktail for you to take that's very specific to your body.
You know what? This is amazing, and I think the science. What we're hearing now is the scientific kind of movement into the application of cannabis that should have been since the beginning, instead of the criminalization of cannabis, because it's always in community had this very effect for a medicinal effect in some way. Sometimes it's misused just for trauma. Folks, you go through something, listen, I got to smoke to just chill. So, it's always had this effect. And so what I'm hearing now is that we're actually going to study, and you can't, like you said, you can't study anything that's legally criminal. And so that's been probably the barrier to know how great this plant is.
Correct.
And I think even in our mindsets, we have to decriminalize our mindsets. Like, the older generations is like, you getting high, listen, so we got to change the way we're kind of thinking. And when we change our thought, we change our patterns. And I think that's what's happening now. When I hear what you guys are doing at the Black Canni, it's innovation, but it's revolutionary. We need in our community to authentically study things for us, by us.
Right.
That's just it, and what I'm hearing to me makes sense, is logical, and it's something that will help us across the board, because everyone doesn't function the same and everybody doesn't have the same outcome. I think the stress level of the African gives us more
Mhm.
a need for something other than a chemical.
Correct.
That's been, with our body and what you release with stress, you don't need to add chemicals with that stress. You need something that can come in there and biologically chill you down, but also is not hurting you. And I think this is where plants come in. And
Plant-based medicine.
I
Yeah.
ha- yeah, like my grandmother, like down south, they make stuff from the plants, baby. They go out
Right.
in the field and they come in and listen. They dry that thing out and put some water on that and take it in the back and do something. Everything is healed.
Correct.
and they did it for years. And unfortunately, we have not. It didn't transfer to the next generation. So we're here looking around because we got hooked on what them people give us. It's pills, and all of these things that is hurting us. So I love what I'm hearing. I love it. And then I'm a medical professional, and to hear like the nurses and our psycho pharmacists. Listen, I think what we'll see from henceforth, there will be a pharmacy of cannabis, of strains that would particularly help people for what their anomaly is. When we start getting there, then we're rolling with something, because then we go into the problem is, and we're dealing with people where they are, and they don't have
Correct.
to they can feel safe about being medicated by a plant.
Correct. Correct.
Well, can I say,
You
you
get what
talk
I'm
about
saying?
feeling safe?
Yeah, you sure
One
can.
of the things that I think that we have not addressed in Maryland and other localities that have legislated adult use. In Maryland in July, of 2023, Maryland legislated adult use recreational weed. So you can go into a dispensary as long as you're 21 and older, and you can buy weed. But there was no public education about, this is not your back in the day scary dude on the corner weed, right? This is very, we're talking about scientific, right? It is very, very specific. It is, it's a lot of things, right? But there was no education. So, one of the aims of the Black Canni is to educate, the general public, the canny curious and the canny conscious. We are at a point where, our seniors can benefit from cannabis. And we're not talking about necessarily, cannabis that is, that has the THC, right? Our seniors can benefit, and, folks that, have different ailments, such as pain and anxiety and, insomnia, etc. But we have to educate them, right? We have to educate our youth about, this can impact your, brain development. You could experience psychosis. We have to educate, the service providers. We have to educate the medical professionals, because they weren't taught this stuff, right? And people are not being honest when you go to the doctor. I would never go to the doctor talking about, yeah, I just smoked today. Like,
No,
usually
nobody's going to be
like,
forthcoming with
yeah,
that.
right?
Yeah.
Nobody
So
does.
Nobody's come forthcoming with that.
Right, exactly. So
Yeah.
this
Yes.
work is about, this is about, abolitionist work, and I got that from Jason Harris, right? Jason was like, you are essentially doing abolitionist work. And I was like, that's right. That is so true. Like, this is what, this work is. I always say, I see myself as a freedom fighter, right? This is, social justice work, right? This is about, access, but also I think that it's important that, we are educating people about the history, right? And studying
That's a
that,
critical piece right there.
what's his name? Harry Osslinger,
Yes.
in 1937.
Harry,
This
yes.
this dude was the head of the Bureau of Narcotics for 30 years.
Bureau, yeah.
What? 30 years? And he basically, created this identity around marijuana, that it was, a rogue drug, and the same trope that they're using now.
Brought by
Right.
by the Mexicans here,
Absolutely.
which was a stigma was attached. So
Absolutely.
marijuana is a Latin word. And so yeah, finish your thought, Maurissa.
No, I was just thinking about, and then how the progression of that is that the United States was able to influence other countries, through, threatening of, treaties, etc., for them to also create penalties. So you have to think about, in the global, in Asia, in Africa, all over the world, that this was something even in our indigenous, community here in, the America, if you will, that this was something that was taken away from us as a communal. When we talk about sessions, right? I had done a thing. I don't know if I sent you a flyer about what a sesh is, right? What's a sesh? A sesh is, people sitting around smoking and talking and kicking it, right? Puff, puff, pass. This is a part of our culture. Right? So this,
what's it called?
Sesh.
We call that
SESH.
what's it called?
SESH, a sesh. So we're the living well. We're going to start doing.
What happened to cipher?
Black Canni.
What happened to that cipher joint? Let me make it black and street. What happened to the cipher? Now it's sesh.
Yeah, it's
I love
the
how we
same
make
thing.
it pretty.
It's just, you know what I mean? We've moved it to, how culture is, right? But the point being is that, I was in South Africa this year, and one of my friends, she is Kosa, and she was telling me about, she was showing me a pipe that her mother gave her when she got married. And then she showed me a picture of her mother's pipe that was given to her when she got married.
Was passed down. Wow.
Oh, wow.
And so she said, this has been a part of our culture, right? This has been a part of our culture globally, from a communal, not a medicinal, but also from an agricultural perspective. So we've got to think about, when we talk about decolonizing, our perspective about cannabis, right? We've got to go back to Harry Oslinger, and understanding, like, how the United States worked, to create, to extract, right, this plant from the global community and the impact that that had. So on Sunday, we have a whole day talking about hemp. We're going to be talking about the hemp bill.
Listen,
we're going to be talking about,
wow,
how hemp is used as a sustainable building project. We have invited, the folks in the construction trades. We're hoping that they're going to come out, right? Because we're talking about, like, this is futuristic. This is future work, right? We are doing futurist work. So, and also understanding these laws. So, there was a bill, I don't know, I think it was somebody in Montana that introduced a bill that would criminalize the growing of hemp, right?
Oh, wow.
And so what does that mean? So it means that it was a bill introduced. It's probably not going to see, the floor for, a couple more sessions. But at the same time, if that bill gets passed, like, it's a long road, but if it gets passed, then folks that are selling CBD products, you're going to have to pull that off the shelves.
That's over.
Right?
But it's all about control, though, Maurissa.
It's all
we
about
see,
control.
It's all control. And it's what America does across the board. We even see, you said with this guy, Harry, brother, Harry, Harry Potter, that's what I'm gonna call him. You know what Harry Potter did. But this, I mean, because this would do, they use their wizards, they use their wands to change minds, and they market it, and it becomes law, and it isn't law. But usually it's because this country cannot, the full country is a barren country. Yes, there grow plains in the US, but it doesn't have the ability to mass produce, and wasn't mass producing this plant. And so it was in other areas, because I know in Africa, this plant it's a wild plant. It's everywhere. I know Nigerian told me it's everywhere, and they don't misuse it. They don't have problems with it. They actually use it for medicinal purposes. But when something doesn't grow, anything doesn't go around your country but foolishness, then you look at other things and you want to control it, because you can't produce it. Now they found a way to produce it. Now we got certifications, we got dispensary. We want to look at how to put the waste. And now we're looking at hemp. How do we control that? It's all control. And so Black people, Black people have to get into this industry, and we have to really look at what's going on, or we're going to be pushed out. That's totally what's gonna happen because they're gonna define every piece of it and then not allow but one or two of us to touch it. That's
Yeah,
what
it's
always
so
happens.
true.
And then we look at the one black weed billionaire and we think we all can do it. And it's nonsense. So just wanted to say that.
Yeah, but to Marissa's point, a part of it too was political.
Sure.
Do you realize that in the 30s and before, that it was a part of the formulary where doctors prescribe marijuana, cannabis. It was a part of the prescription by doctors. So what
All medicine
happened?
come from plants.
Right.
They
So what
chemically
happened?
enhance it, but they all are plant.
Yeah. So what happened is that William Hearst, the paper guy, and DuPont, the plastic folks, sent their lobbyists to Congress and said this will annihilate our industry. Because DuPont, if you know anything, that's plastics, right? And with William Hearst, that's paper, and that all came from hemp. At one point, it was required that farms grew hemp. You know, just those your ships, those ropes that they docked those huge liners with, that was hemp.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's all political. It's all by design. That
It really
Schedule
is.
One is all by
It's all by
design. I'm
design.
sure they're
It's
going to
all
touch
by
on some of
design.
It's
that.
all by design.
And so we got
So some people can
Piedmont Hemp.
control it and some can't.
Correct. Correct.
I want you guys,
Mhm.
to understand we got Piedmont Hemp. They they're going to talk about the farm bill. They're going to talk about the work that they're doing, on the Eastern Shore. This brother family actually had land in North Carolina and South Carolina, and he had to fight, you know what I mean, to be able to use that land. In Prince George's County to do hemp, right? And so they actually just got a land grant, and then these other brother BCB Mastermind, oh my gosh, they just got a $6 million EPA grant, to study biofuels in hemp, right? So we're doing a study. This is, these are Black folks that are coming to this table having this conversation. So that's what I'm excited about. That's what we're excited about with the Black Canni. These are, Black innovators. These are cultivators. These are policy people. We got Davon Love, talking about the
My man.
repair fund and the intersection of, policy and social justice, if you will. And then we also
Sure.
have the Office of Social Equity, coming to talk about. Like I was like, I want to hear what y'all are doing, and what you're going to
Well,
do.
let me say it to you, Maurissa. They're gonna, and I promise you, I did that dance in California with the whole social equity journey and odyssey. They should come there with their pens and notebooks, because they could take away a lot of information, and they probably could look at some collaboration from some of those thought leaders. That's going to be at your event. When I tell you the Black Canni, I don't even understand. I say to you that what you've done, and I've been to several conferences since 2016. It's nothing like I've experienced. And I've been to MJ Biz in Vegas, which is one of the largest in the world. And I promise you, what is being done at Black Canni is it's revolutionary. So yeah, so there's no need to. I've been to their sessions. That's the Maryland Social Equity, or Office of Social Equity, and they're figuring stuff out. Trust me, they need to bring their pens and their pads.
Well, I appreciate they sponsored us, and I appreciate Audrey and crew, because they have been supportive, as to your point, Trevor. They're trying to figure stuff out, build capacity. This whole thing for even nationally is we're building the plane and flying it at the same time.
Right.
And I think that
right.
is
and it's fair. What you said is fair. They're figuring it out.
Right.
They're figuring it out.
And so, one of the things that, we, at the Living Well really, believe in, is that we, kind of strip down, the hierarchical frameworks that operate in space. So the Living Well space is always safe space for Black space, for thought leadership, right? We say soulful expression, conscious expansion, optimal wellness. And so, this weekend, I'm so excited. We're going to sit in a circle, right? This is, about discussions. We do have, discussion leaders, but, everybody is going to infuse the discussion. So to Trevor's point, that not only the Office of Social Equity should be, taking notes, we all should be taking notes.
Yes, that's
from
absolutely
another.
correct.
I always,
That's so
say
true.
that the future organization, will operate as open teams of teams with a symbiotic relationship working towards a common mission and purpose. And so everyone that shows up in that space is coming from probably different places and spaces in this cannabis lane, right? But we all have a symbiotic relationship, right? That is the plant. And so, last year at the Canny, Trevor, talked about, his journey. We had Farmer Nell, now Dr. Farmer Nell, talk about, ancillary businesses, right? When I went to Black Cannabis Week last weekend in Philadelphia, I went to the policy breakfast, and one of the things that they, asked people, like, how many people in the room? So let's just say there was 200 people in the room. And they said, how many people here, own a dispensary, have a dispensary? And like 3 people in the room raised their hands. And when they said, how many people here have an ancillary business to cannabis, 80% of the room raised their hand.
How many?
80%.
8.
80.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right. 80% of the people in the room
Yeah.
had some type of ancillary business. We have this ancillary business around, the Black Canni. It's an ancillary to the plant.
Correct. Correct.
It is, because, like I said, you think about that. Not only Maryland rolled out adult use with no public campaign, no public education campaign. Did you see anything?
Right.
Like on the news, on a billboard, and did you see any slogan? Like nothing. And so, the Black Canni, I feel like, is, aims to fill that gap. So, I did a pop-up, what I call the reclamation of cannabis at Flourish, and I'm getting ready to do one at Empathy Wellness in Richmond. I think that just some sessions, or they don't even need to be sessions, around, let's talk about the history. I think that is important for me. I'm a sister of a certain age now, being able to destigmatize this plant. And so, Queen is over there laughing, but the last time I was on her show, she asked me to send her a picture. So I was being funny. And I sent her a photo of that Sadiq Kali. I don't know if you guys know who Sadiq Kali is. He is a world-renowned photographer, if you will. And he took what he called a puff portrait. So I sent it to Queen, and I was like, girl, I was just playing. She was like, oh, this picture is dope. So I ended up sharing the picture on Facebook. I actually shared it with an article that the Baltimore Sun had voted me one of 24 Black Marylanders to watch in 2024. And so I put that picture on the announcement. So I guess people thought that was the picture that the Sun used, but it really wasn't. But anyway, so I had so many people sharing that.
But
wait. Oh my God.
What do people think about the picture? Wait a minute. What do they think about the picture?
Well, wait a minute.
Over that.
Y'all know Olu.
Because I'm gonna put the picture up.
So Olu Butterfly.
Oh, that's my girl. Yes.
She puts on my thread. You may be doing the most. So all day long, my stomach was hurting because I was like, if Olu said I may be doing the most, oh my God, right? I may be doing the most. And so since then, people were like, you need to do this on a billboard. You need to But it was actually Queen. Thank you for making me walk my talk. Because she was like, look, you can't be talking about you trying to destigmatize this thing. And you ain't trying to, you know what I mean? She was like, this is a dope ass picture, you know, and I'm like, yeah, Sadiq Khalid did take that picture, right? But I was scared. Like I was scared, but the funny thing was when people in Baltimore know Fusion, they are our fiscal agent for the Living Well, and Fusion shared that picture, and somebody
How cool is that?
said, "Yo,
Yeah.
Fusion just shared that picture of you smoking." Okay, I was like, "Oh my god!" Like my stomach was hurt, and I was like, "My mother's up in heaven, going, I know you did not."
But see, this is where we are. We've been, so what Harry did 50, 60 years ago, it's still in our heads.
Yes,
you see how someone can, it's still in our heads, and we cannot even be authentic in our own spaces. That is powerful. This, what you're doing is powerful, and you can't, the picture of it though is a lot. But that is almost,
pictures is worth 1,000 words, isn't it?
yeah, and it's the coming out party. Like, listen,
Right.
This is what I'm doing. This is what I do, and this is how I'm going to make it better for you. So,
Correct.
And it's just a representation. So I thought it was so dope. I thought it was authentic. And that's where we have to be. If we're going to talk about something, you have to be authentic in it. And she showed, and if you want me to show the world, I'll show again, because I can bring it up. But I love the picture. When I first saw it, I was like, yes, yes, yes. That's the picture, yo. I didn't even want to use your other picture. I was like, no.
I know. I was like, she's like, no, I don't know.
Nah.
But Queen, can I also mention this?
And I promise you. Go ahead.
No, I also wanted to mention one more thing before I forget, because I'll get off of here and forget.
What's that?
Another thing that you did. You're
I don't
brilliant.
think because you're the marketing mate. You
No,
market
because
brilliantly. Don't
so
you, Trevor?
Queen
She
was
just
like,
does. She does her thing. I love it.
So I was telling Queen about the story, Trevor. Last year we had a actual grow session, and I dropped the ball in getting the seeds. Like I had gotten everything else. I mean, I was like, yo, I got everything but the seeds. And so, Trevor was like, well, how are we having a grow session without seeds? So this was a Thursday night, and the grow session was on Sunday. So Trevor said, hold on, let me see if I can call somebody out in the Bay and get us some seeds overnight. So we talked to, his name was Medicine Man Seeds. This was Thursday evening, right? Wasn't it Thursday night? Right. It was Thursday
it's night. A true story too.
Right. Yeah. So Thursday night, we talked and he was like, yeah, I'm going to support you. I'm going to send you some seeds. Okay, good. Now, please be clear, y'all. I know how much damn seeds cost. I just thought you could just run, like, let me just run to the dispensary and get some seeds. I didn't think that the seed thing was going to be such a big deal. All right. So that was Thursday night. The candy is Saturday and Sunday. So our grow session was on Sunday. So Saturday at the candy, I get a text from Mr. Medicine Man Seeds, and he says, I put the seeds in your mailbox. So in my head, of course, he meant he got the notification from, UPS or FedEx or whoever he sent them by, overnighted them. And, he's giving me the heads up that they're in my mailbox. Y'all, that man actually flew those seeds. He flew those seeds to Baltimore.
Which he meant he personally got on a plane and delivered the seeds.
Yes, he did.
Himself.
Yes, he did. I was blown. I was just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So he gave me
I've since developed a very good relationship with that brother, Salt of the Earth.
He gave me 2 boxes.
Salt of the Earth.
2 boxes of seeds.
Good brother.
Again, good brother. I don't know how much, I didn't know how much seeds cost. So I said, what do you want me to do with the seeds? Do you want me to sell them to the people? Do you want me to give them? He was like, no, give them away. I look on the back of the seeds. The seeds was $40, $50, $60, $80 a pack. He had given us about 50 packs or more of seeds. And so I was telling Queen this story. And she was like, yeah, because, we need to have a seed bank trade. And I was like, oh my God,
That's brilliant.
it was brilliant, right?
Yeah, it's
And
brilliant.
she was like, yeah, so, Queen was talking about like the seeds are in our power. That's our sustainability.
Correct.
Right. And so I was like, yeah, like think about it. When you get flower, bud, weed, whatever you want to call it, there ain't no seeds. Back in
Correct.
the day, you would have to, you remember you used to get your shoebox top and you
Yeah.
would crush the weed up and then you would clean
You
it.
telling
You would use
yourself.
a credit
You telling
card
on
or
yourself for
something,
sure.
But
right?
then we
She an
all know
old smoker.
what was the
She an
plenty
old
cost.
Right,
joint.
Right.
Brother
right,
Trevor, she
right.
an
And
old
you
joint. She
tilt
telling
it,
the old stuff.
right, and you would tilt
Hey,
it
hey,
and you would
hey, we
scrape
dating
up
now. We
into
dating.
them
She
seeds
dating.
to
She
come
been
roll
We
up
smoking
dating
for
in.
100
ourselves
years,
now.
y'all. She talking about the box, this chick. She
The
didn't want to put a
shoebox.
picture out, but smoked for 3,000 years. I'm sick
Shoebox.
of
Yeah,
her.
yeah, yeah.
Right, but y'all remember that. Them seeds be burning your
You're
clothes
absolutely
up
right.
and
No
your
seeds are in weed now. Believe
Right.
no
that. I
seeds
know
are
they're
in
not.
weed.
No, they're not going to do that because that gives you
Right,
power. And so I was telling you about power. So
right,
you jump this up, that's that's my 10% into the candy. So it's
Correct.
Black Canni box. That's the
Correct.
box part says. That's the because it's so important that you understand how important the seed is. Nothing comes from the seed, even the
Correct.
plant. The plant
Correct.
does not morph into
Even when we talking
existence
about food.
without the seed.
right.
Yeah.
Food. I
Exactly.
told her that I started a seed bank because I'm starting a farm. I'm banking seeds now. And so it's very important that we understand how and when we look at seeds, you start understanding how food. Like if you eat a
Correct.
watermelon, how many seeds do you throw away? All of those are hundreds of watermelons. And you
Correct.
might say, oh, I'm not going to eat watermelon every day. But
And I
if you're
don't eat them
hungry,
without,
you'll
if they
eat
don't have
watermelon every
seeds, I
day.
don't consume watermelons if they don't have seeds, because that's GMO.
Well, you shouldn't.
The
Yeah,
seedless
nothing
one.
should be consumed without a seed. Yep.
Yeah. So,
You should not
So
consume
that's how
that.
we
It's
came up with the
not a
seed
real
bank trade.
fruit.
The
huh?
seed bank trade came from actually was the brainchild of Queen Bee. And so what we decided was to try to pull the farmers in and the gardeners in, as this is our equity platform. So if you sign up and register as a trader, right, you can come to the Black Canni on Saturday for free.
That's
But you
awesome.
got to bring some seeds, right?
Right.
Whether it be fruit
That's
seeds, or
awesome.
vegetable seeds, or any kind of seeds,
It's all
you
relative.
can bring
Yeah.
some seeds so that we can train, because this is an act of food sovereignty, right?
Correct.
This is an
It is.
act of us being able to use our community to create assets, if you will, that are sustainable for our lives. And so I want to say thank you, Queen, for
Welcome.
like us thinking about what that looks like and executing it. The Living Well has always been that platform of a place where you can turn ideas into action in collaboration with other thought partners, right? And I think that what we call using a open systems model, where the Living Well has always been a canopy for those thought leaders, those healers, those for those artists, that are looking for not only just a brick and mortar space, but a community space, right, where they can tap into, the brilliance of other Black leaders. And so, Queen's platform was just a very natural, symbiotic, opportunity in terms of, relationships. Like, I met Queen through, Jason. They were both getting the Weaver Award, and Jason was like, yeah, I just gotta go, blah, blah, blah. I was like, my brother, you get an award and we just
You
kind
gotta
of
be
pull
there, bro.
up, like, but Jason Harris is a engineer. He runs the Black Robot Project. He's on our platform as one of our thought leaders. We have Nika Namdi, who is one of our Brain Trust members as well. She is the founder of Fight Blight Baltimore and the co-founder of the SOS Fund, who will be doing a land acknowledgement and a libation. We're going to be bringing the ancestors into the space, right? And then we have DJ Afrodelic, who will being space and making sure that, we keeping it Black and we keeping the energy moving throughout the day. I am so excited about the components, that encompass this canny, and the community has come. I've got to give a big shout out to Dr. Tiffany Buckley, who teaches over at the University of Maryland School of Pharmacy in College Park. She has, been on the grind, talking to her students, making sure that they're signing up. And so we really appreciate that because, this is the work of the example of Ubuntu. I am because we are, right? We have to, making sure that we're working, with our symbiotic relationships. And also, let me just say, we were doing some ancestral work. And one of the things that, Sister Nika Namdi said, she was like, we are taught to believe that food is our primary source of nutrition, but it's actually relationships. It's actually relationships. And it's because of the relationships that we have with one another. Like, I haven't known Queen for a long time, but I tell you, I feel safe with her and I feel at home, on her platform. And like I said, if it wasn't for Trevor, I wouldn't be here. Like I wouldn't be in this work because, he was like, I smoked weed. You know what I mean? Like, and so he got me really interested, in the aspects of the business aspect of this and the healing aspect of this and the health aspect of this. And then again, because of my lived experience with my daughter, you know what I mean? I then have a passion position. In my role with M4MM, I was able to go to the Hill and lobby for, the rescheduling of cannabis from 1 to 3. And I was able to talk about, how it has been beneficial to my child, who is 23 years old with hip replacements and knee replacements and all of that, right? And that how cannabis is something and CBD has something that has really supported her.
Wow, amazing. And listen, you could not have another Black Canni and I'm not there, so don't do that again. So we have to kind of get our calendars together. You can't just come up and have a Black Canni and I'm not present. So we can't do that again. We definitely cannot do that again because what I'm hearing now is you're growing. And I missed the first one. Now you made me miss the second one, Miss Maurissa. We're not doing this again. The third one, I'm there because I want to see the manifestation of this work. And it seems to me is that other people see the value. They see that we as Black people need to have a very authentic conversation around marijuana, around cannabis, around and it's more than just smoking. And I just, that is a part of it. Now we're not negating that part, but there's so many other parts. You understand? Just like Vaseline got a lot of usage. It's not
it's definitely many
real
routes.
talk. Vaseline don't just get on your lips, bro.
Definitely many routes for intake.
Sure. So we have to find a way to have these type of conversations and be comfortable about them. And understand that when it is a conversation that's been demonized, you didn't do the demonization. Someone else did that. Right. And it started with some type of a level of control. And we got to not let anyone control our minds or our movements. And so what I like about the Black Canni is it sounds to me like freedom. It's like that we're freely talking about something that can help us as personally and as a community. So I love it. I totally love it. What you want to say, Trevor?
No, I was just
That's something to say, Trevor?
No, listening to what you're saying. No, I was just listening to what you're saying, and everything you're saying is right on. The freedom, the revolution. It's a revolution. The Black Canni is a revolution.
Right. It's not a moment, it's a movement.
Yes. It's
a movement.
Thank you for adding
I would
that.
like to know, how did it become the Black Canni? Yeah, I love that. How did you get to Black Canni? Like you took the bus out of there, you let that go. And you got to keep Black. So how did you get Canni? I just love, kind of, it sounds good.
Actually, there's a brother and sister that have a cannabis business in Virginia. And I met them and I was like, wow, I have this idea. I want to have this, cannabis conference. And the sister was like, oh, okay, so you having your first canny. And I was like, yeah. I said, the Black Canni. So I got the canny term from her because we always say canna. And people want to say, they want to always say canna. But I was like, this is a canny, right? The Black Canni.
I really
I
like
felt
it.
like it just felt right.
It sounds right.
And it's gonna be right.
I know it felt right for me when I came.
Mm-hmm.
I came full circle by coming home to the DMV and being a part of that experience. And so it was very sentimental and emotional for me, going out to California and forging my way out there and then coming back full circle. So
Yes. That
Black
sounds
Canni.
great. The Black
Yeah.
Canni.
That's
Wow.
the tribe. That's my tribe.
Yeah, that's your
That's
jam,
my
bro.
tribe. I forged new relationships there. Yeah.
I
Yeah, and
love
you know
that.
what? And it did actually. I saw firsthand the aim was to connect people. To create economic and social capital, and we did that. I've seen the relationships
Oh,
that have
absolutely.
been forged since the canny that are business to business relationship, the healing to healing relationships.
All that I experienced at the Black Canni.
Yeah.
All those. The healing to healing, the
Wow.
social, the
All that.
economic, all of it. All
Right.
of it. All
So
of it.
I love this.
yeah, so I
Man,
just
I'm like,
With
oh
my
my
people.
goodness. So what iteration of this? What iteration are we on? Is it the second or where
this
you
is
at?
the
Is
second,
this
but
your
what we've
third
done,
conference? This is considered a conference.
well, I'm calling it a convening instead of a conference because when we think about conference, we get so
Okay.
colonized. What I want to say is that we've been doing stuff so that folks can have immersive experiences. So we had a 420, the Taste of 420, which was a blast. We had Cannabis
I
Chef.
was
We
there.
rented
That
a
was nice.
commercial kitchen so that we can demonstrate, how to decarb cannabis. I was able actually, to, have a stage where we showed people how to do this, how to make butter and how to make honey. We made honey, and then I hired a shadow chef who did some infusions, and so we just literally spent the day eating. And we rented the space where people could sit outside and enjoy themselves, right? And if they wanted those, they could. We've done that. We've taken a field trip to one of our sponsors' place. He's got a private dispensary in DC called the Flower District. And he is a SME, if you will, on psilocybin. And so he literally he's coming. His name is Timothy Green of the Flower District. And it's like I said, it's a private experience. It's an experience. We don't even have time to get into that. But if shrooms are your thing, you definitely want to be there Saturday afternoon. That's your thing, Trev, right?
Hey,
I don't even know
that's
what
a
that
healing
is.
plan. It's a
Really?
healing plan. That's a whole nother conversation. But it's been life-changing for me. That's been life-changing. Yeah.
As we delve
Sure.
into this, I'm sure there's going to be so many things that
Yeah.
are revealed, the revelations from actually looking at something and having respect for it and understanding that it can do so many things for it. I think the revelations of cannabis is going to be a beautiful thing for the country, but definitely for Black people. We're Earth people, and so I think that this what's happening, and if we look at it and actually focus on it, we could be a big part of this revolution. And don't let it pass us by. We let industries pass us by. We can't let this one go. We got to contribute.
We already are.
Because there's so many pieces of it.
We just have to remember.
Yeah, I'm in a state that it's not legal.
Yeah.
South Carolina is not legal.
Yeah, we
So
already are.
there's other the South is still Republican, baby. So they're
That's
not
not
having
okay.
it yet. But I promise you, what they like is money. Everybody likes cash. And what they
Right.
see what's happening with these other states that are making a killing in a quarter. You know, Maryland first quarter was a killer. So was Virginia. So they're seeing these things all over the country, though. You know, when they started and as they continue, these numbers are staying. And so I see that this illegal stuff is going to go away. And how can we do this so people are ready in other states as this thing rolls through other states? Because you see, Maryland is first year in. There will be 2 or 3 next year. There will be 2 or 3. You know, it's going to happen until all of the states just turn over. So how does this kind of have you thought about that? How does this type of movement kind of manifest in states that particularly it's not legal yet? How do you kind of, is it something like you have an internet piece or a virtual piece where people can start looking and get inspired? You know what I mean? Just trying to give you another thought, because it's people who want to do things, but they're in states that won't allow it.
Right. You know, advocacy is everywhere, though.
Yep,
And
you're right.
to Marissa's point, the policy folks and folks that's been marginalized and criminalized, people are resurrecting in some of the most unusual places. Let's look at a place like Ohio. You know, that is, you know, you can't get more red in Ohio, you know, and they have adult use. So just
Really?
look at that. I was in South Carolina. Yes. Their tolerance is a little different. I could see that it's going to shift in that space.
Well, the
Anderson, you
North
said
Carolina
you're from South
governor, he's
Carolina.
running on.
Right. You
Yeah, the
know,
North Carolina governor is running with weed as his part of his
see that? Yeah.
campaign. And whatever happens in
Okay.
North Carolina is going to happen in South Carolina. It's going to happen in
Correct.
Georgia. It's going to happen so
Correct.
it will continue.
Correct.
So we see this movement. And so I think that we have to look in Maryland and the DMV. I think that area is always pretty quick in getting things done, because of course Washington D.C., the legislation is there, and then places around the DMV is usually always on the fast track. But then I think that this is something that we should look at, how other states and other, you know, Black people in other states, how they can get ready to tap into an industry that is pregnant with opportunity. Yeah.
You know, so I'm listening
So
to
I
you
think the
talk
Black
about
Canni can
that.
assist in that.
Yeah, I'm listening to you talk about that. The National Cannabis Festival in DC, right? At RFK is where they had their main event. But you know where their policy event was at?
Where?
The Ronald Reagan building.
Look at that.
How ironic, right? Nancy
Yeah,
Reagan
Mr.
just said no
Conservative.
to drugs.
Yeah, Mr. Conservative
Yeah.
and wifey.
At
Yeah.
that building, the policy event
I
occurred
believe
about
it.
3 to 4 years ago.
Wow, that's something. You know, the stacks that DC is made up of weed, please. They ain't thinking about Nancy. She better sit down somewhere. They're getting their cash.
No.
So yeah, that makes sense. And we see how even you might think of one thing, but 10, 20 years later, it's a whole different thought. And that's where we are now. So listen, the Black Canni is a thing, guys. It is a thing. It's a thing that's gonna go down 10, 5 and 10-6, sis?
Yes,
Hey,
10-5, 10-6.
I think I'm just
10-5,
glad.
10-6. Tell
I'm
us where
just
it's gonna
grateful
be.
to say that I was at the embryonic stage.
Look
because,
at you.
You know,
Embryonic.
I don't think Maurissa, you know, I think she's on. This is something that's going to be huge.
Yeah, I think so.
You know,
I
and
think
I know
that
that in my gut.
it's important to recognize that, people are organizing across the country, especially Black folks. I went to Black Cannabis Week in Philly last week. There was in the spring, it was a Hire conference in Philly. Hire was about Black women in the cannabis arena, where, there's folks, I know in New Jersey, even in places where, adult use is not, legislated as of yet. People are organizing, and I think that we're all, seeking to do the same thing, right? We're looking for pathways, for not only economic, opportunities and pathways, but, access, to this as a medicine, being able to improve our quality of life, right? To be able to, create sovereignty, over our data as it relates to, the research. And also to, the point that Trevor and, the focus of Camnesia Wellness, is, making sure, that, the plant is being manufactured in an organic way, and just, bringing,
Responsibly, yeah. Yeah,
yes,
for sure.
just bringing awareness, to this industry that is, again, I keep saying that this is not scary dude on the corner. This is not your back in the day, nickel dime bad weed, right? This is, people need to understand, the difference between what's an indica strain and the components of that, and, a sativa, and what hybrids are, to be able to go into a dispensary, and to be able to, identify, products and different ways of dosing. And then also, we just had a campaign that we did, Don't Buy Street Weed. And there was some kids in Baltimore I said young people on Pennsylvania Avenue that bought some pre-rolls that were laced with cocaine and fentanyl. And so we went to the health department and got Narcan strips and fentanyl test strips that will also go in our swag bag. And so let me say this too, speaking of swag bag, I am so pumped about our swag bag. We got one of our sponsors is Oyen Handmade. If you're in the Maryland area, Baltimore area, Oyen Handmade, they're in Target. We got, they gave us some products, some hemp seed oil products. Piedmont Hemp, gave us some beautiful products. I mean, we've got, some stuff in our swag bags. So, the cost of coming to the Canni is $25 a day. If you are a new licensee with the Office of Social Equity, it is $25 a day. If you are with the University of Maryland School of Pharmacy program, it is $50 if you are just, coming to, support and learn, which is still a very accessible price. Our sponsors, really made it so that we could provide, this thought level of thought leadership, at an accessible price. You got to have, you got to have skin in your own game, right? So we're not, really trying to, give this away, but we are also trying to fortify, the community. We're going to have vendors there, of course, and we'll have like one of my colleagues, Nathaniel Hicks of Canis Capital. He's going to be giving quotes, to folks. Nurse Ashley Wynn is going to be doing some Reiki. She does Reiki. She's going to, and so also, oh my God, travel. What's the sister? Ayana from, oh gosh, what's the travel company? The Cannabis Travel Company. Oh my gosh. Y'all know, oh my gosh, I forgive me. Ayana Lawson.
Cannabis travel? What would that be? Cannabis travel. Like
no, Trevor, what's the name of her company? I cannot believe I'm blanking on the name of
And
her
it was
company.
I looked at the agenda today too.
Oh gosh. But anyway, she's given us a travel gift. Y'all, I want to apologize to her in advance. So it is going to be like, like I said, it is going to be about, we have Ross Trey Sabor. I don't know if you guys know him. He is a brilliant, right?
Ross Trey.
A brilliant media person, a documentary maker. He is going to be on the be on the camera, if you will.
Okay.
One of the things that I want him to do is, to tell our story visually. Last year we had him to do the indigenous, history of, the African history of cannabis. And Ross Trey, baby, understood the assignment.
He's a bad man.
He
That's
put
my brother.
together a brilliant piece, a body of work. So, everyone that, we got, like I said, we got Leaders of a Beautiful Struggle, I'm just trying to shout out some of our supporters and sponsors, such as Black Box Radio, Collectively, Innovation Works, a network for the development of conscious communities. We got Green Guards, we got City Weeds, we've got Fight Blight Baltimore, we got Bushtown Farms is a new dispensary in DC. So, and these are all Black folks, let me tell you, that are doing. I'm really excited about BCB Mastermind, Todd Hughes and Brandon Wyatt are going to be here. Those brothers are doing some really big things. And so, yeah, so I'm just hoping folks come out. We didn't talk about how Eventbrite, on our live, kicked us off.
Well, tell them so they know.
Eventbrite literally took down our event, and they said that we had violated their guidelines with promoting, cannabis, which is whack and crazy, and literally refunded everyone's money. So of course, that created a lot of confusion. Like, is the candy still on? From my lens, it's just like another one of those, vehicles that they can use to, extract resources from us, which is, very unfortunate. So it's really kind of, gave us a little, hiccup, if you will, but, we're able to get, back on track. I mean, we still having our conference. We just had to, switch our registration. So if people are trying to register, on the Eventbrite link that is on most of our assets that are out in the universe right now, you're not going to work, just, send us, there's, our contact information on there. You can find us on all the socials, Live Well, Be More, on Instagram, IG.
What's your contact, since this is a problem, so I can put it in the chat? What is the contact, if other than Eventbrite? How would they contact to get tickets or to get information?
Right. So Live Well, Be More. The information is on our blog and in our Black Canni tab. Right. Okay. On our socials, again, Facebook, The Living Well, Instagram, Live Well, Be More. And also, please, reach out to me at 410-212-5953. We really want, if you are, a grower of, if you're farming or whatever, register for the seed back. It'll get you in free. And so, like I said, we are creating these avenues where, I always say equity shows up in our pockets at the end of the day. Right. And so, we want to make sure that we, are providing, high quality, content, at accessible and affordable prices. Typically, last year, I would say our audience was very diverse in terms of people's interest and why they were there, but also very strong. I was, talking to Davon Love, and I asked him, I was thanking him for being there. And one of the things he said, your audience was, very strong. And so, this is not about, again, who's doing what. It's about what is the thought capital that we are bringing into the space, from a collective front.
Wow. I couldn't even add any more to that. What are the thought capital?
Now, listen, with her, you just sit back, and you see me, I just sit back and let her talk. Go ahead.
That's a t-shirt. That's a t-shirt piece right there.
I love it. Yeah,
that's what it all.
Listen, this sounds very powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds very powerful. You have powerful players. All of those folks you mentioned, I've had some type of contact with them. They're great people, and they're very interested and focused on Black people, and the freedom of Black people, and things that the greatness in Black life. So I love Ross Trey, LBS, but Brother Davon Love is the man. And so you got some Sister Nika, powerful. So you got some power in the building. I tell you guys, listen, Black Canni 10-5, 10-6 this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Baltimore is going to be lit up, literally. There will be seeds in the building. There'll be Black people in the building, and there'll be some revolution in the building. We're about
right.
to
And listen, we
got
food by our own people, Black. We've got events by Christina. She's feeding us on Saturday. And the Big Bean Theory, Eula McDowell, is going to be feeding us on
Mama
Sunday.
Eula.
Yes,
I love it.
we're not even playing. Okay, we're not even playing. Our sister Afro Delic is on the 1s and 2s. You know, we're excited about that. So it's going to be a whole ass vibe, right? Like I said, you guys, the swag bags. Listen.
They rocking. Yeah, they are rocking. Listen, this weekend is going to be popping. Get on the social media. You said Live Well Baltimore.
Live Well Bemore, LiveWellBemore.com. So I appreciate you, Black Box Radio, for your support and sponsorship. You know, Trevor, Camnesia Wellness, you know, they are our partners in love. We are excited, you know, to bring this forum together. And it's going to be like fire and energy in Baltimore Unity Hall on Saturday, because the Youth Rites of Passage program is happening downstairs from 10 to 12. And I know they're going to be getting a drum on. So it's going to, you know, the ancestors will be present in space, right? Ushering us through, you know, this process of learning and being.
For sure.
I say ashe to that. You guys have a beautiful, y'all gonna have a beautiful weekend. I'm crying now that I can't be there. I'm not even hurt, I'm crying. But the next one I'm gonna be there. Before you even convene or think about your convention, we're gonna talk about, because I really want to be a part of it, especially the seed thing. The seed thing is my thing. I really love that you've added that to because if we don't sustain this talk, what are we?
Thank you.
So you got to have a way to sustain the plant. Yeah, you got to sustain the plant if you're going to talk about the plant. So this has been Brother Trevor. I say to you, thank you for coming through.
Oh, thank you.
I love your accent. Where are you from?
I'm Guyana.
Where are you originally
from?
Guyanese, absolutely. I see that skin. I know someone from Guyanese. You look like her. Yes, excellent. I love your accent. Thanks for coming. Thanks for Black Box Radio with your genius. I appreciate it. You know, Sister Maurissa, I just love you. You are doing such amazing things in Baltimore, and the thing that you're doing is not really for Baltimore; it's for everywhere. You know, wellness and how you want to sustain it and talk about things in the earth that will sustain us. It's a beautiful thing, and I love that you're ushering that as you're a woman of a certain age. You love to say that. That's her thing, Trevor. She's a woman of a certain age.
Yeah.
So
that's the new echo.
That's the new stuff. She always say,
"Go ahead, season.
I'm a woman of a certain age."
Go ahead, season.
I love it. Yeah, she's so seasoned. So I love that. But you know, very seasoned. But you're very good at this too.
Yeah.
Say it again, Trevor.
Season.
See, I don't know what. Listen, I don't know how I'm feeling about all that. So
no, it's all good. It's good. You know, it's
see, listen, you're eating. You don't mess with nothing ain't seasoned. I promise you that.
Yeah, that part.
Yeah, you gotta have that seasoning in it, right there,
that
Trevor.
Part. Look, y'all know what it is. All y'all teeth hanging on your lips.
You better know. That's black talk right there. I love that.
That's exactly.
I love that.
I love coming on Black Box Radio. I just feel like, you know,
this is home right here. This is home right here, Queen B.
And this is what we do this for. We gotta have. There's not a group of people that doesn't have their own way to communicate or their own media. We have to look at that, because if you when we start things, no one invites us to talk about it. So we have to have a space to talk about it. It's important for us to have that. Cultivate that. And so I want to be that space. I want you guys to come on and talk about the greatness so we could show everybody else, like, Black people are doing things out here.
Correct.
You know, the narrative is not that we're just mucking up, but we are really doing some good stuff out here. And so, but it has to come from us. And if we don't usher it in, who's going to know? You know, so we rely on a lot of entities to put our stuff out. So we got to Eventbrite. We got to look at them. We got to look at ways to usurp these movements. Facebook and Instagram, they took down my page. We got to look at ways to usurp the control. Everything that we're seeing is control. They can shut you down, and you can have the same language as someone else, and that could shut you down. Because I went on Eventbrite today. It's a million cannabis things on Eventbrite.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't know what they're talking about.
Absolutely.
I don't know what they're talking about.
I think it's
Community
it's a
guidelines.
random
They should
thing.
shut the whole.
Yeah, no, they don't
It's
do that. They
ridiculous.
just select.
They don't
When it's
do
your
that. So,
Yeah.
you know, they're not doing that to everybody. But that shows
Right.
that what you're doing is resonating. Trust me.
Right.
They see you, sweetheart. They don't get rid of things that don't mean something. They see
There
you.
we go.
So
There we
I want
exactly.
to say
So
I
keep
appreciate our community. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate, Trevor, your continued mentorship and support and love and partnership. Queen, I love you. You've been my day one. So
yeah.
I thank
Sister
you guys. I
American.
thank Black Box Radio for having Trevor and I on. You
No
guys,
question.
it's not too late. Come out to the Black Canni. I don't care if you have to come in it. We're gonna be there from 8 to 5. We're starting with comedic yoga and running all
8
up
a.m.
to 5 o'clock, right?
What 8
So
a.m.
8
8
a.m.
a.m. for
Wow,
comedic
you ain't
yoga.
playing. I love
Right.
it. So you're gonna start out with getting people in a space where they ready.
Yes,
Open.
yes,
So you're gonna open up all of the
yeah.
There
all
we
of the
go.
canal.
All the chakras, all
All
that.
the chakras, everything gonna be
Yeah,
ready.
yeah,
I love it.
yeah,
Comedic yoga, which is an
For sure.
African tradition of yoga.
Right. We the
Love it.
Black Canni. We the Black
Oh,
Canni.
Yeah,
all
yeah.
day long. Listen, get your tickets. Get your tickets 10/5, 10/6 this Friday. This Saturday and Sunday. You won't see this again until next year, right? So you got to
Yes.
come this year. 24, get in the door. So please get in touch with Maurissa, livewell.bemore.com. Is that what you said?
LiveWellBeMore.com. LiveWellBeMore.com.
That's what I
Yeah.
wanted you to
Live
say.
well, be
Yeah.
more.
Bemore.com.
That's very
Be more.
fitting.
Yes,
Very
very good.
good.
Very fitting.
Thank you
Exactly.
guys so much.
All right.
One more
Thank
thing.
you.
Wait a minute. Don't close my show, Ms. Marissa. This is what you do,
I thought you were
Trevor.
close.
These women are a certain age.
Yeah, I know.
What is she doing?
Hey,
You gotta slow her down, Trevor.
that's how it comes.
She done ran the
That's how
show.
it
Now
comes.
she gonna close the show.
Listen, she was wrapping up.
I
I
love
thought
that.
she was trying to rush us off.
No, but that's not how we wrap. No, I'm not really no rush. I want you to, both of you guys, I want you to leave a jewel with my peoples. Leave something inspirational, drop a jewel, and then we leave. So whoever wants to go first, but please drop something
Ladies
that
first,
we
by
can
all
grow
means,
from. And then we
please.
grow. Let's go, Maurissa.
Competition is anti-community.
Say, what's that?
Competition
Wow.
is anti-community.
Oh, wow.
Gotta follow that, bro.
Black Canni is home. Black Canni is
Ooh.
home. Black Canni is
go.
home. Period.
Canni is
End
home.
End and beginning of story.
Listen, we done.
Yeah.
I love that. Black competition is anti-community. I love that. And Black Canni is home. It is home. It is be in the house. 10/5, 10/6 this weekend. So listen, guys, I really appreciate you coming on. Thanks for this information. I think what you both are doing is revolutionary. Appreciate you guys. I love when Black people are being extraordinary. Ordinary, but more than that, just extraordinary. So thank you for coming on. Thanks for contributing to this platform. I really appreciate it. We boxed up and now. Can I get some deuces? We out of here.
Deuces.
Out of here. Deuces. We're gone.
I love y'all. Thank